Some men wear armor, others carry swords. But the rarest warriors? They walk with faith. Joel Osteen isn't the kind of warrior that leads armies into battle. He leads hearts through storms. His battlefield is the human spirit, scarred by loss, weakened by fear, broken by life. And his weapon isn't a blade, it's belief. He doesn't yell. He doesn't fight the way the world fights. He whispers hope into chaos. And somehow that whisper grows louder than the noise of despair. Let's begin with the first of his most powerful codes. Okay, here's quote number 1. You may be in a tough time, but that setback is simply a setup for a greater comeback. Life will knock you down, not once, not twice, but over and over. What matters is not the fall, it's what you do with it. Osteen reminds us that behind every closed door is not rejection, but redirection. Behind every heartbreak is hidden growth. Now let me share a classic tale. In the ancient story of Job from the Bible, a man loses everything, his wealth, his children, his health. But Job never curses God. He endures the pain, and in the end his life is restored, even greater than before. Here's a modern-day example. Take J.K. Rowling. Before she became one of the best-selling authors of all time, she was a single mother, jobless, and battling depression. Rejected by 12 publishers, she kept writing. Her setback became the setup for Harry Potter, a global legacy. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Reframe the storm. Ask, what is this preparing me for? Track your comebacks. Keep a journal of past turnarounds. Visualize your victory. Speak it into existence daily. Okay, here's quote number 2. Choosing to be positive and having a grateful attitude is going to determine how you're going to live your life. Negativity is easy. Gratitude is discipline. Osteen tells us your mind is a battlefield. Guard it well. Let me share a classic tale. In ancient Stoic philosophy, Epictetus, once a slave, taught that we cannot control events, only our reactions. He chose inner peace over external chaos. Here's a modern-day example. Oprah Winfrey, despite trauma and poverty, practiced gratitude daily. That habit became the foundation for her global influence. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Start a gratitude journal. 3 things. Every morning, eliminate negative input. Replace with uplifting messages. Smile on purpose. It shifts your state instantly. Okay, here's quote number 3. You were created to be victorious. You are an overcomer. Osteen reminds us that our default setting is victory, not defeat. Let me share a classic tale. David and Goliath. The boy faced the giant not with strength, but with certainty. He knew God was with him. Here's a modern-day example. Nick Vujicic, born without limbs, became a world-renowned speaker. His message: faith is stronger than any limitation. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Affirm daily, I am an overcomer. Face one fear each day. Build your inner muscle. Pray with confidence, not doubt. Okay, here's quote number 4. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. When things go quiet, Osteen reminds us, silence isn't absence, it's trust. Let me share a classic tale. Moses at the Red Sea, trapped between water and warriors. But God made a way through the impossible. Here's a modern-day example. Denzel Washington once doubted his acting path, but faith anchored him. Now he mentors others in faith and purpose. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Keep a faith file of past breakthroughs. Speak scriptures over fear. Study your past patterns. See divine fingerprints. Okay, here's quote number 5. When you focus on being a blessing, God makes sure that you are always blessed in abundance. Osteen flips the model. Don't chase, Give. Let me share a classic tale. Ruth served Naomi expecting nothing. She ended up part of a royal legacy. Here's a modern-day example. Tyler Perry gave while homeless. Today, he builds studios and feeds families. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Be a blessing every day. Tithe joyfully. Celebrate others genuinely. Okay, here's quote number 6. You're going to go through tough times, that's life, but I say nothing happens to you, it happens for you. Every pain has a purpose, every setback carries strategy. Osteen flips the question from why me to what now. Now let me share a classic tale. Joseph, sold by his brothers, wrongly imprisoned, ends up ruling Egypt. He tells them, "You meant it for harm, but God meant it for good." Here's a modern-day example. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. That failure became fuel. He turned it into 6 NBA titles and an untouchable legacy. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Ask, what can I learn from this? Write a gratitude letter to your past pain. Turn trials into testimony. Share your story. Okay, here's quote number 7. You may feel today like you're trapped, that it's never going to get any better. But God is saying, I'm about to do a new thing. When it feels like the end, Osteen reminds us, it's actually the beginning. Now let me share a classic tale. In the Bible, the prophet Isaiah speaks of rivers in the desert and roads in the wilderness. God isn't out of options. He's just getting started. Here's a modern-day example. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. Everyone thought it was over. But his release brought freedom to a nation. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Expect the unexpected. Leave room for miracles. Clean out the old, physically and emotionally. Speak this daily. Something new is coming. Okay, here's quote number 8. Don't just accept whatever comes your way in life. You were born to win. You were born for greatness. Osteen doesn't teach submission. He teaches identity. You are not average. You are anointed. Let me share a classic tale. Caleb and Joshua refused to see giants. They saw promise. The rest feared. They believed. They conquered. Here's a modern-day example. Serena Williams didn't accept limitations. She trained like a warrior, thought like a queen, and dominated like a legend. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Refuse victimhood. Choose ownership. Set bold goals, ones that scare you. Surround yourself with believers, not doubters. Okay, here's quote number 9. Keep doing the right thing. God is building character in you, and you are passing that test. Growth comes quietly. Integrity builds slowly. But Osteen says, keep going. God is watching. Let me share a classic tale. Noah built the ark before the rain. Years of ridicule. Still he obeyed. And when the storm came, he was ready. Here's a modern-day example. Stephen Curry was overlooked. Too small, too weak. But he kept working. Now, a 2-time MVP and world champion. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Do right when no one's watching. See delay as development. Trust the process, even when it's quiet. Okay, here's quote number 10. God is not as concerned about our comfort as He is our growth. Osteen reminds us that pain is not punishment, it's preparation. God uses pressure to reveal power. Let me share a classic tale. Jesus in the wilderness. 40 days of hunger and temptation. But out of that fire came ministry, miracles, and mission. Here's a modern-day example. Bethany Hamilton lost her arm to a shark attack. But she got back on the surfboard. Her discomfort led to global inspiration. Here are 3 ways you can apply this in your life. Don't chase easy. Chase growth. Ask, how is this shaping me? Sit in discomfort. Let it mature you. Now let's close with this. Joel Osteen is not just a preacher of prosperity. He is a sculptor of strength. He doesn't hand you comfort. He hands you courage. He says you're not a victim. You're a vessel. You're not stuck. You're being shaped. So remember, your pain has purpose. Your prison has potential. Your desert will bloom. Your waiting is not wasted. Your storms are forging steel. Walk in faith. Think like a victor. Rise like a warrior. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is Conrad Warriors, and this is Joel Osteen's Code.